Just want to take a minute here to just mention a really good friend of mine, somebody I was fortunate enough to coach with, Joe Delisandris, offensive line coach for the Baltimore Ravens, who was the Chargers offensive line coach years ago. He's struggling through some really serious health situations right now, and prayers, bring all the prayers. All prayers are welcome. So I know he's, he loved his time with the Chargers, and he's struggling right now with that situation. So bring on the prayers. Any questions?
How'd you feel like Saturday went?
I mean, it was a really good evaluation. Obviously the results were underwhelming, and for all of us. But there was a lot of bright spots, a lot of good work, a lot of evaluation of young guys. First time some young guys got out there. We had some veteran type of guys get in there for 6 plays or whatnot. So they kind of got used to the pregame warm up and got in there. But a lot of things to work on. We had great meetings this week, trying to clean up some things. So it's a great opportunity to get better, and that's what training camp's all about. Yeah.
I guess what were some of the key evaluations that you were able to make in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we got a lot of work to do fundamentally in certain areas, and really the end result of the play was generally a thing here and a thing there. There's some good stuff going on, and then not something that blows up the play. As far as like individual evaluations, those are kept behind closed doors. We discuss those with the players. Overall, we took away a lot from that, not only from an individual standpoint, but from a collective standpoint.
Were you concerned at all by the offense's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know I think you're concerned every day. In practice, meetings, you're as a coach, you're always, you're pushing the envelope, you're chasing it, and so it's just another, another opportunity really to evaluate, learn, and kind of recalibrate some things and move forward. So, as far as concerned, I think there's a high sense of urgency every day, and when you go do something, you evaluate it, and you make the right decisions and get better and move on.
I mean, were you when the game Saturday? Is that what you expected? Is that where you thought y'all were at as an offense? From what you saw on Saturday?
No, I thought we had some really good practices leading up to that game. I thought some of our best practices up until this week. I think the ones we've had this week are pretty good, but yeah, you don't really look at these games as here's what I expect, here's what I don't expect. We're going out, we're running a basic game plan, and we got to go see who can execute. And when that doesn't happen, then you try to make those corrections and move forward.
Do you feel comfortable with, I guess, again, like where the quarterbacks are? Was Saturday's game not like, it wasn't like an indictment of where you guys are at the position?
No, I don't see that at all. I mean, are there plays we'd like to have back? You better believe it. Not just a quarterback, receiver, tight end, O-line, running back. I think that's pretty consistent in the first preseason game across the board. But bottom line is, that's not the kind of football we want to put out there. But it was really good work. It was a great opportunity.
When you say that's not the type of football you want to put out there, what are you referring to specifically?
I mean, as we're building towards the season, we're going to get into a really results-oriented mindset. Right now, we're into a process-oriented mindset of, here's why this play doesn't work. Here's what has to happen. This needs to happen. You need to use this technique, this quarterback read, this technique, at the catch point, this kind of ball security, all the millions of different things that these guys work at. So that's really what the process is right now.
How do you feel Louise has done in the last week or so, like picking up the offense?
Yeah, I mean, he's in here late every day, trying to pick it up. I was here for 3-4 days, and ended up going out there and doing a pretty good job. He's got a lot to learn, a lot to catch up on, and he's sprinting to do it. He feels the sense of urgency, so I've been really impressed by that. And I thought he did a pretty darn good job under the circumstances. So,
how do you feel about your O-line depth outside of the starting group right now?
I mean, I think the O-line's working extremely hard right now. I really like some of these young guys. I think they're coming on. And that's the big thing about these games is you got to really look at them from an individual standpoint. This player, how he performed, and then once you build that, then you get a chance to see, put your roster together and then really see what you got at that point. But I like how some of these young guys are coming along. I talked to a few of them yesterday, and they just got to keep pushing it. And then that goes for the starters too. That goes for all of us. As coaches, we got to teach technique. We got to get the technique better, more consistent. But no, those guys are working hard.
Going based off of the offensive line, just Joe Wald was one of the guys that played the most snaps on Saturday. What was your evaluation of him?
It was a really good start for Joe. I thought it was a really good start. There's a couple things here and there that he learned, and I think he'll learn from him. He's that kind of guy. So, but I thought it was a heck of a start for him, kind of getting his feet wet, and he's just going to build on it, and learn from it. He's really shown that ability.
Do you expect Saturday to be almost the exact same thing where he plays most of the snap?
We're not quite sure on that yet. It's a little early in the week for that. We got some big practices today, yet tomorrow, et cetera, and then we'll kind of get together and figure that out. But I definitely know you're going to see him out there.
Being 6'8", and or 6'9", whatever, there's always fibbing and stuff. But what do you think about his pad level when he starts off? What have you noticed about his pad level and him being so tall?
I think if you look at him, he can bend and play extremely low, and when he does, he's extremely effective. So that's something that he works on all the time. That goes for every player. The lower you can play, the better, generally speaking. So, but yeah, he can bend. For a guy his size, he can play really low.
That's why I was asking, because of his size.
Oh yeah, he can. I mean, some guys can't. Some guys can't bend. They're just stiff in the hips, ankles, knees. He can. So,
Have you been impressed by Ladd at all? I know he's been out a little bit, but from the guy you drafted to the guy you've seen, have you been impressed by him?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was coming on a couple weeks ago before he had to work through something, and now he's back out there working his way back into it. Really excited about that. I think it's got to be something that really just grows and grows and grows every day from now until the end of the season. But
is there stuff he's done over camp that stood out to you?
Yeah, a lot of different things. I mean, obviously, really good change of direction, understanding how to do things. The fact that he's so inquisitive about things is huge in terms of getting on the same page with the quarterbacks and the coaches and whatnot. Asks the right questions, and got a lot of really good movement skills, route running, and he's working at it really hard. Excited.
With Foster, you got some time at guard in the game. You guys have been trying to build out that flexibility with him.
Yeah.
When you look at him, do you feel like you have a guy that can play tackle guard and sort of fill that flex spot in the depth chart?
Yeah, I mean that's what he's aiming for. I mean he's got a big opportunity, and that position flexibility up front we all know is huge. So the more he can show that, the better. So it's another huge week for him. But he's taking it on, in an excited fashion. He understands the opportunity.
Where is Donald Parham at in this process? Obviously missed a decent number of practices there as he was working through something. But where do you feel like he's at?
Yeah, DP's working his way back in. He's done some really good things the past few days, and got some reps in the game, and hopefully we can keep that trend going. He's doing some good things, so we'll see where it goes.
Where do you think the depth chart stands behind J.K. and Gus at running back?
To be decided. Right now it's a competition, and it's kind of like what I tell J.K. and Gus during the season before games. Hey man, whoever's got the hot hand, so the opportunity's there. These guys are going to get a lot of opportunities this game. We're watching them in practice all week, and this will be a big day for them.
Did anyone jump out in the game? Because obviously, like you're alluding to, that position's really difficult to evaluate when it's not live action. So did any of those guys behind, Gus and J.K. jump out to you in the game, Jarrett, or
yeah? Elijah? I mean, I think they all did. They all did well. I think they're all there's everybody's got certain things they can improve, but they're doing a really good job, and we'd like to get them some more opportunities. to tote the rock. And, you know, everything they do when they don't have the ball is very important too. You know, pass protection, routes, all that stuff. So, you know, it's an exciting week for them.
When Justin does get back into practice, I mean, how prepared are you guys for him just to sort of slot back in? Will there be any sort of, you know, process as far as him getting back into the flow of things? Because obviously you've got the offense. It's now practice for 2 weeks. Without him, you're installing things, you're moving forward. Is there going to be growing pains at all with him getting back into practice, do you think?
I mean, I think that's a question for him from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint, he is on point. He is he's the tip of the spear as we're putting the offense in. We had a great little discussion yesterday about some tweaks we're going to make. So he's dialed in. He can step on the field right now and run the show. From a physical standpoint, that's a question for him. And I'm sure there's a little bit of an acclimation period there. Yeah. Or I shouldn't say I'm sure, I would guess.
Yeah. What about chemistry, you know?
Yeah, that's a work in progress. That's a work in progress. You know, time on task, reps together. You can't sit here and sugarcoat the importance of that. So we got some catching up to do when that happens, but with the guys we got, I'm really excited about that process. And I know they are too.
Greg, without having a joint practice tomorrow, how much does that change the schedule or what you can look at as far as evaluations?
I mean, I'd say the one preseason game, we're evaluating guys every day in practice. We practice against the Rams prior, so we're right on schedule when it comes to evaluations. You know, joint practices are great when you can do them, and I think there's a lot of value there. And the one we had against the Rams was great last week. Certain things we were able to get fixed after that. So, you know, business as usual, big practice tomorrow.
Any reason you guys let team drills off with the second team today?
Well, I mean, there's some method to, you know, if there's guys that are playing on the second and the third squad, you'd like them to have a break in between and not have to go, 10 plays in a row, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Guys that are playing on the second and the third.
Yeah, if you have guys that are playing on the second and third team, then you give them a chance to have a break in the middle, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you got second team, then first team, then third team?
Yeah, I mean,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, pretty much, yeah.